Great, thanks very much. And thank you, Jared, for that. That's fascinating, very exciting. I'm just going to take you on a brief journey in terms of how we're hoping to amplify the health benefits of nature with NatureFix. So I'm very grateful to be working with a wonderful team and a dynamic team. One of my colleagues, Dr. Miles Holmes, is on the call tonight. He's co-founder of NatureFix, and he'll be taking some of the discussion questions later on. But we come from quite a diverse background, from conservation ecology to anthropology, to Indigenous knowledge, landscape architecture, health sciences, medical sciences, and of course the tech and creative design elements. Why are we working together? Well, we all believe that improving our everyday contact and connection with nature promotes human health, but also planetary health. In other words, that we actually care in this time of biodiversity and climate crises. I'm not going to spend time on this because it is the background that we're familiar with. The Lancet Global Health put out a publication looking at just how many people are currently suffering from some sort of mental health disorder, huge cost to the global economy. And then early this year, Sapien Labs released their State of Global Mental Health report. And what was very disconcerting here is, I mean, obviously the continued rise, but in the core Anglophonic countries, that's US and Canada, UK, Ireland, NZ, and Australia, 30% of adults see themselves as diseased or struggling, and 50%, alarmingly, of 18 to 24-year-olds see themselves as distressed, I should say, or struggling. The global average is slightly less, and continental Europe and Latin America is slightly less, but I imagine most people here fall into the core Anglophonic countries. So it's a real concern where this is heading. The researchers looked at what might be the drivers and trends for that. I can maybe come back to this in the discussion because there's a variety of reasons, but the one thing that signaled across all global regions was the rise in screen time and use of internet and social media. And so this is where we need to nuance our understanding of tech and how we can actually use it. The researchers actually suggest that it might not be the tech itself, but if you're spending 7 to 10 hours on the screen, what are you not doing in terms of cultivating your social relationships, getting outdoors, physical activity, and so forth? And we've also added eco-anxiety and climate distress there as another trend to watch. So like Jared said, there might be a fix, and research is confirming what we've known for a long time, and that nature has profound effects on our health and well-being. And these are just some of the benefits that are now being empirically backed up through literature, which is burgeoning out in the scientific space. And also importantly there's mental health, physical health, but also planetary health in terms of our duty of care toward the environment. But the one thing you'll hear us say is that it's not just contact with nature, it's the nature of the contact. So it's not just a walk in the park. And here's the thing, that the minutes matter and the quantity of minutes matter, but it's also the quality of the moments that we're spending out there. If it was just about outdoors, and everybody with an outdoor profession would be thriving, but we know that's not the case. I tend to see it a little bit like going to a gym. That there's an assumption if you go to the gym that you're not just going to check out the treadmill, maybe the bike, just strike the weights, that there's some sort of a routine there, and you're actually going to engage with that equipment. And there might even be a personal trainer there looking at your health needs and trying to devise routines that actually help your health outcomes. So in some ways, and the neuroscience of happiness has also backed this up, that regardless of your environmental setting, I mean, that's really important. It's necessary to have a good environmental setting, but the effort that you put into that space, your directed attention, actually influences the quality of your experience. So we feel that nature connection, therefore, has a role to play in that. And in my earlier work, I suggest that it's a consistent state of awareness that unites symbiotic thoughts, feelings, and experiences into traits that support everyday actions that respect our interrelatedness with the rest of nature. It means assuming we are part of nature. So it combines our worldview, the sense that nature is a part of our identity, our felt experiences, which is really important, and our relationship with our local spaces and places. The research in nature connection is also on the up, and recently there's been a couple of meta-analyses that have come out, and it shows that nature connection is a robust mediator for happiness, emotional and nervous system regulations, and mental resilience, eudaimonic well-being, which is the sense of a worthwhile life, that life has meaning, pro-social and pro-nature behaviours, so that's an ethic of care for life, and that it can be the impetus or the motivation for transformational sustainability interventions. And that we can improve our sense of nature connection. This is from another meta-analysis which has just come out, by direct contact and a sense of mindfulness in nature. And that's quite broad, and we can mine into that at another time, but also that we have targeted, regular, long-term interventions to help sort of shift these sort of states of connection where we feel good into actual traits where we start to be committed toward our relationship with the rest of nature. And the study has found, as have others, that individuals with high nature connection have more pro-nature behaviours, but are also significantly healthier than those with low nature connection. And this is really important to focus on. So we went on a mission, and we realized if contact is good and connection's better, how do we, well, I mean, Jared has said that nature needs a number, and I guess we felt that nature needs notification. So what I mean by that is, how can we nudge people to notice, to truly notice? How do we encourage people to relate to nature in a mindful way as part of their everyday outdoors engagement? And how do we scale those benefits of nature connection? So some of us are outdoor facilitators, and you know, we have worked in that space. We've also done interpretive signage, but that's not always appropriate in some spaces. So we ended up in the realm of an app. And that's where NatureFix comes in, and it's a self-guiding nature-based program that seeks to transform green spaces into wellness places. And so the app itself has a number of features. It basically uses geolocation services to deliver audio routines that people can listen to that help to actually guide them through a particular green space. So we can choose these routines. You could say the routines are like guided meditations, but they're not quite like that. But that might help you understand where we're coming from, into particular places that actually helps to amplify the well-being benefits of that space. And so it comes with built-in well-being tracking and user experience reporting. And the app also has some standalone routines that you can use even if they're not part of a designated trail or zone, which we've developed. What we've done in designing these routines, we've got about over 50 now, is that we've used the scientific evidence to find out, well, how do we design activities that can actually get the outcomes we want? So for example, in writing up these practices with Relax the Eyes, for example, that's one that encourages engaging our peripheral vision. And that has been shown to flip us into parasympathetic, to flip on the parasympathetic nervous system, and then to bring us into a state of calm. Similarly, focus on fractals in nature has been shown to increase alpha wave activity in our mind. So we're using the psychology, the neuroscience, the nature connection research, and the health research to work out the sort of activities that can give us the outcomes we want. And we've installed these and are installing these in hospitals as zones, in parks and botanical gardens, workplaces, learning spaces like universities, and also as part of individual nature prescriptions. So essentially we sort of have trails that we design, and then you just basically drop a pin, and that means that you can then access those routines on a particular trail, zones around an area, or surprisingly, the Snowy Valley Council in Australia is actually using it for one of their tourist drives through the region. What's really important to us is Indigenous engagement, and this is something which is a customized version of what we do, and it's ensuring that the original voices of the landscape are also heard as part of our effort towards reconciliation with people and nature. And so this is an example of the Tumut Trail in Australia, where we work with elders and local Indigenous groups to co-create routines that share their perspectives on that landscape, whether it's a welcome to country, as we'd say in Australia, the creation stories, the cultural histories, and invitations to connect. And, you know, the science is catching up to what Indigenous cultures around the world have known for so long. I mean, their baseline engagement was one of human nature connection, and it's important to acknowledge that. We're working with Macquarie University and their nature wellness research program, the Living Lab, and we're in our third year now. So there we have a trail set on campus, and we've been putting students through just to make sure that our app is doing what we hope it is doing. And it's doing that and more. We've been really surprised and grateful for the results. We're finding almost 2/3 of participants have seen improvements in mood, a nature connection, just starting with 20 minutes of NatureFix a week. And participants have been feeling happier, less negative, more connected to nature. And if they're more connected with nature, that unlocks a whole lot of other benefits, which we've spoken about, and more appreciation of the actual place, which I think is really important in cultivating connection. Importantly, students who had a lower mood before this had even a higher impact. So a 69% increase in feelings of happiness and a 33% decrease in negative moods. So it's really encouraging. We'll be looking at mood, connection, place attachment, and recently started with attention restoration, and we're hoping to keep expanding this work. We've also been looking qualitatively about what's experienced. So we've got about almost 1,200 reference points for analysis. Some of this happened during lockdown time. And what this does is it helps us link the feelings and emotions of a particular routine, so we can start to tailor trails for different outcomes. So if we're seeing that routines are consistently delivering relaxed or calm, then we can say, okay, that's one that we can use for a stress reduction trail. That's one we can use for a positive emotion or attention restoration trail. So as the data comes in, we're able to understand where the leverage points are. And finally, this space of nature prescriptions is very exciting. We really hope we can make a contribution there. And that's this idea that primary healthcare professionals can formally recommend nature to help alleviate low mood, anxiety, depression, but also a range of other health outcomes for optimal well-being. So, in this sense, we really see, and this was something my colleague Miles said earlier, that we really see Nature Quant and NatureFix as like rice and beans. It's sort of the complete protein because doctors can actually then start to track time outdoors, which is important, but also the quality of engagement as well, knowing that the time spent outdoors is actually time well spent. So thank you for that. It was a bit of a tour de force there, but feel free to reach out and connect with us. And if you'd like to download the app and access some of those standalone routines that you can do anywhere, then you can just put your phone up to the screen right now for iPhone and Android. You can connect with us via those emails, also at naturefix.life. And we've also have a newsletter, which you can subscribe to, which has little science snippets that come out routinely as well to keep up with where we're at there. So thank you.